We've got some key developments here. On the one hand, we've got higher fatality rates, more infections, and then we've got sweeping changes on the political front with some of these officials. Just tie these two together for me.
Yeah, you're seeing some really high-level reshuffling. Earlier this week, 2 high-ranking Hubei officials were removed, and now China is sacking its Wuhan party secretary. That's amid mounting criticism over the level of transparency, the failure of the local government there to act faster, and sort of represents Beijing's dissatisfaction with the handling of the crisis. And you now have this methodology change as well, which really fuels concerns about how reliable China's data is, the overall adequacy of these testing kits, as well as just the true scale of this outbreak. Now, to help break down what this methodology changes exactly, the National Health Commission said it will start including cases confirmed by clinical diagnosis, which refers to using CT imaging scans to diagnose cases, alongside those confirmed from the previous method of nucleic acid testing kits. Now, those testing kits are in short supply. The Hubei health system has also been overwhelmed. And so you've seen many reports of people with symptoms like fever and coughing waiting in line for hours to get a diagnosis and then getting tested negative, but then getting turned away, even though some of those tests have been shown to show up false negatives.
Selina, we've also seen some Chinese government officials come out and basically underscore that there's a glass half full to this in terms of the economic growth potential that can be protected and can be nurtured.
Well, yesterday you heard Xi Jinping say he's confident that they can reach the economic and social development targets for 2020. And in a meeting of China's top leaders, they urged the country to continue to meet its economic targets despite this downward pressure that's going to continue for at least several more months. And they want to achieve that through more flexible monetary policy, more fiscal policy, boosting large foreign investment projects. But meantime, you have other economists that are turning more pessimistic on the speed of this recovery. For instance, you have the S&P estimating growth this year could be as low as 5%, which would be the weakest since the early 1990s. And here in Beijing, the streets are still extremely quiet. Many of China's cities continue to look like ghost towns. The consumer impact is clear with travel restrictions in place. Consumers are mostly housebound. And so, for instance, Chow Tai Fook Jewelry has closed about 80% of its stores in China. Yum China has closed about 30% of its restaurants. And you do see evidence of factories struggling to reopen, global supply chain still being upended.